Hi guys, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. My neighbors upstairs are moving. It's either they're moving or they put elephants in the apartment. So my morning is kind of noisy, so if you hear some background noise, that is exactly why. Okay, cool. I am actually doing what I usually do. I'm going to share my Facebook Live. Sorry, concentrating. Thanks for the likes. If you guys are coming on, say hi, where you're from, especially if you're new. Okay. Good morning, Juan. How are you? Oh, this hair is a little out of control. So I'm keeping my hair curly for now on because I'm actually going to Asia for 3 months and 6 weeks. So I will be there, and if you've ever been in that type of temperature, you know that straightening your hair, especially if you have natural, this is actually my natural hair, this is just blow dried, so you know that it's basically you straighten it and then you walk outside and it becomes this again, so it's like a waste of time. So I'm actually going to keep it curly, I think, for a little while to just prep myself. So I actually don't, I say actually a lot. Glad to be on your feed today. Aw, awesome, Juan. I'm glad that you're here. I don't really like my curly hair, just to kind of close up that conversation, but it is what it is, right? So today's live is a good one. All right, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Justine Leslie, and I'm an intuitive coach and spiritual mentor. I help people empower their intuition to live a more aligned life and make more aligned decisions. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Hi, Barb. Hi. Thanks for joining. I help people get spiritually connected, and I help people help heal themselves. I do all of this for emotional healing and obviously living the life that you want to live. So there's that. I'm also a huge, what word do I use? Advocate for people that are empathic. So if you feel like that you're empathic, let's chat quickly. An empath is somebody that absorbs energy like a sponge, right? So we actually process things differently. And hi, is it Eco? I don't want to get it wrong, but hi, thanks for joining. So if you are an empath, let's chat. We definitely process things a lot differently than a typical person. And actually, this live has something to do with being an empath, right? Because for me, and if you've been following me for a while, you know, I have experiences with narcissists. And let me just make this clear. Sorry, I use my hands a lot. I don't even know where to put them. Maybe on my coffee mug. But I've had experience with somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, which is different from narcissistic personality traits, right? Because we all have narcissistic personality traits, right? Nobody's perfect. You know, we veer off the path. We lead with ego. There are things that we do that are narcissistic. It's just is what it is. But there are people with, I talk with my hands. Good. Okay. I think my Italian blood does that. So I'm not really sure. So anyway, it's a huge difference, right? And it becomes a disorder when it deeply affects other people, right? Your behavior deeply affects other people and it becomes a problem, right? Because it could be very detrimental, especially if you're an empath and you find yourself in a relationship or being raised by a parent that it has narcissistic personality disorder. It's very detrimental. It's psychological abuse. It's emotional abuse. Sometimes it's physical abuse. In my case, thank God, it wasn't physical abuse. But not to say the emotional and the psychological weren't as terrible. You know, nobody's pain is more great than somebody else's, right? So we have to really understand that. But when it comes to it, I think it's really, really important to learn the proper tools as to how to deal with the narcissist, somebody with the narcissistic personality disorder, and how do you protect yourself and kind of really healing yourself from that whole situation. Because at the end of the day, and I was just talking to somebody over the weekend about it, we have to really take accountability for ourselves, and it's really hard to do it when we're extreme pain, about, asking yourself, how am I accountable in this situation? What am I doing? What am I putting out that's attracting these types of people? What does narcissism actually mean? That's a really good question. So there are a ton of traits, but basically the textbook definition is the lack of empathy and the lack of consciousness of empathy, right? Meaning they don't even know what it is, they don't experience it, just really in everything that they do, they lack it. They have grandiose superiority complex, meaning that they think that they're better than other people when the real truth is that we're all equal, right? So they have a grandiose version of themselves. So really in my and in spiritual terms, it's somebody that's not living in the reality, right? They're very ego-driven, and they don't know the truth. They are unconscious to the truth. So that is, I know, a pretty broad definition, and a lot of people say it's different things, but that's a really good question. I'm glad you brought it up. In my experience, at the end of the day, I just kept asking myself, because I was deeply in love with this person, can they ever truly change, right? So there are a couple of things that I just want to address here when I say that. So I almost titled this live, can a narcissist ever get better? Now, I don't like to say that because that is a assumption on our parts that there is something, quote unquote, wrong with the person with narcissistic personality disorder. Now, if you've been following me, you know that I do not believe in right or wrong. I do believe in extreme rights and extreme wrongs. Somebody that kills 6 people in a row is a serial killer. They may have people in their life that love them, right? So there are some people that probably maybe don't see anything wrong with what they're doing or love them no matter what. And, there are people saying, oh my God, how could this person do this, right? So everything is really subjective is really what I'm trying to say. So for me to say, do the people with NPD ever get better? That's implying that they're broken, right? And I don't believe that anybody is broken. I believe there's fragmentation, which is something that a really great spiritual teacher who I definitely recommend, her name is Teal Swan. If you guys want to look her up, I'll actually put a link to her YouTube channel in the comments. But I just, which means that you're just healing from whatever is kind of unhealed, right? And that's really what it is. I believe that the person with narcissistic personality disorder, it's both nurture and nature. In a lack of empathy, something is missing in the brain, as well as the way that they were brought up was probably a deep deficiency in love from the parents, especially the opposite sex parent. So if the narcissist is a man, it's usually the mother, and then vice versa. So thanks, Tiff. Thanks. I really don't like it curly. I really don't. But thank you. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So implying that the person with the narcissistic personality disorder is broken is not really a place. We're coming from a place of love, right? We're not coming from a place from love is what I'm trying to say. So I didn't want to title this, does a person with narcissistic personality disorder get better? So I wanted to say, does a person with narcissistic personality disorder ever change? And now, finally, the final reveal, right? The answer. Do people actually change that have NPD? And the answer actually is no. And I know what you thought I was going to say because I'm usually pretty subjective. I like to say never, but mostly it's no, and I'll tell you why. Because they are missing not only empathy, but they're missing the self-awareness and the consciousness to understand what that they're doing is not empathetic behavior. They don't have that consciousness, because everything that they do, and we live in a society that actually praises people with narcissistic personality disorder, especially the United States. Look at who our president is, and you will get the proof right there, that we actually praise it, and we actually do not classify it as something to make someone unfit, right? For me, I think they should have that test when somebody becomes president. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But they lack the consciousness and the self-awareness to even understand what their behavior is causing, why it's causing other people pain. If it is, my story is, I actually don't even think my person that I was in a relationship even understands why I'm in no contact with him. I don't think he really gets it. I don't think he understands. But that's just from his level of consciousness, which he lacks the actual consciousness and self-awareness to realize the actions of his behavior. And he has no desire to actually figure that out, because number one, they lack empathy, and number two, whatever they're doing is working for them. And that's the thing. So they don't have the desire to actually do it. And also they have that complex of always being right, and they're always ego-driven. So even if they were going to sit down in a therapist's office, they would never, they would think the therapist was wrong. And they would have no reflection. They would have no accountability, other traits of somebody with narcissistic personality disorder. So it's really like the cycle of you trying so hard to change this person, or holding on to the hope, right? And I always talk about hope not being something that's positive. Hope is something that's negative. Faith is something that's positive, and not negative. But always holding on to that hope that maybe, they'll change one day. But the truth is, you're going to be waiting a really long time. And the only thing that you can change, and that we should concentrate on changing, is who you give your energy and your time to. And that is so important, because that's the only thing you can actually control in a situation like that. If you have somebody in your life that has narcissistic personality disorder, and it's somebody, for example, you can't go no contact because, I was just going to say there's no accountability these days. No, there's not. And they lack the awareness for the accountability, right? Sorry, when I read the comments, sometimes I get a little distracted. But the only thing that we can control is our energy and our time, and that's really, really important to realize. And there are tons of techniques that have helped me in my life, because I have gotten no contact with narcissists in my life, but I also have to have one in my life because we're connected by family. So there are different ways. I use crystals. I'm wearing my nice amethyst today. Crystals are really good, especially if you're empathic. And also there's a technique called gray rock that I've been using, which is just pretending that everything the person with narcissistic personality disorder is interesting, and also deflecting, basically deflecting always on them, because they want to talk about themselves anyway. So basically you're just trying to go gray rock, meaning that you're still rock. There's nothing interesting about you. The narcissist won't come after you for your energy because you're boring, and he'll move on to the next subject. And it has totally worked. It's like a godsend for me, and it's so good, and they'll never notice, because what are they going to call you out on being boring? You know what I mean? So the more boring you are to somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, the more they'll leave you alone. And also, if you just deflect, I love that word, deflect onto them, talk about them, let them talk about themselves, and just pretend that you're interested or whatever it is. And then, they'll get tired. They won't get tired of talking about themselves. They usually never do. But it's just a good way to focus the energy on them instead of it coming from you. So, because you have to remember, guys, people with narcissistic personality disorder are energy vampires, so they're looking for a reaction. They're looking for a fight. They're looking for an argument. They're looking to be right. They're looking for you to be wrong. So if you don't give them any of this, then there's nothing. There's no incident. There's nothing. So it's like super important to know this trick, and it has helped me so much. Thank you for the hearts. I just wanted to share that because it was actually, it's really, really helpful. So yeah, cool. And I hope this is helpful for a lot of the empaths out there. So that's really kind of all I have to say today. I love talking about this topic. I figured I haven't talked about it in a while. It was kind of on my mind. So if you guys want to talk about more of that relationship, the narcissist to the empath relationship, just message me. We can chat. And I always put my calendar, my scheduler in the comments. So if you want to contact me or schedule some time to see how we can work together, then that would be cool too. So I'm out for the day. Thank you so much for everybody that joined. And I will see you, what's tomorrow, Thursday? Yes, I will see you tomorrow. Okay, cool. Thank you. Namaste, guys. Bye.